Welcome back. You're watching Morning Live. Now, just a little bit earlier on in the news, we spoke about a court case involving Oscar Pistorius. Well, there's another one today. Czech fugitive Radovan Krejcir and four co-accused are expected to appear in the High Court in Johannesburg today on charges relating to the murder of Lebanese national Sam Issa. He was gunned down in a drive-by incident in Bedfordview, east of Johannesburg in 2013. Now, Krejcir is facing 9 charges, along with Siboniso Miya, Nkanyiso Mafunda, Simphiwe, Memela, and Lyubomir Grigorov. Krejcir was sentenced in February to 35 years in prison for kidnapping, drug dealing, attempted murder, and is expected to apply for leave to appeal the conviction and sentence on Friday. For more on what's expected in the courts today, we cross now to Gillian Pillay. Gillian, thanks very much for joining us. It looks like we're in for another busy 4 or so days with this particular one. What is Krejcir likely to present to court, do you think?
A very good morning to you, Peter. Yes, it's going to be quite a long week for us here in court. But what Krejcir is likely to present in court is basically what we've heard him present in his sentencing hearing, Peter. A lot have been spoken about his constitutional rights that was infringed upon during the sentencing hearing as well as during the trial. Those are the grounds that he's likely to use, saying that he wasn't granted access to legal representation and this infringed on his constitutional rights. Other grounds that we're likely to see that he also brought out during the sentencing hearing is he's going to say that Judge Lamont was biased. When Krejcir represented himself during the last court proceedings, he basically said that Lamont was part of this collusion that was of the opinion that Krejcir wanted to take him out, assassinate him, kill him. The other ground that we're also likely to see is that Krejcir is going to say that he didn't have a fair trial, that there was no drugs, the crystal meth, there was no drugs that was found and said these are the drugs that you were dealing in. So those are a few of the grounds that Krejcir is likely to bring out here today, and his co-accused, which are now sentenced inmates, Peter, they likely also to talk around grounds of an unfair trial, bias from the judge, asking the judge to recuse himself early on already during the trial, Peter.
Well, during that trial, if I remember correctly, particularly in the sentencing phase, the judge seemed to explain himself quite well. And a lot of people sort of watching on were just thinking, you know, that Krejcir and co were really stretching the truth a little bit. How successful do you think he might be?
There's one school of thought that is saying, you know, there seems to be grounds for Krejcir saying that his constitutional rights were infringed upon during that sentencing hearing. He pressed upon the fact that he was not granted legal representation to put good grounds forward during mitigation of sentence. Now, I just want to tell you what's happening now, Peter. A lot of this cases has heightened security. What's happening now is that the court that we'll be in will be swept by a unit from the K9 unit. I've just seen the vehicle arrive now, the K9 unit. I don't know if you can hear the dogs barking, but that particular K9 unit will now go into court, Peter, to sweep that area. I don't know if you can remember that during the sentencing hearing, we had an incident where there was an attempted bomb scare. And usually when Krejcir comes to court, it's these kinds of heightened security, a lot of logistics being involved in getting him here to court, in securing the area in which he will appear, and the court being swept before any member of the public enters court. Even us as journalists, Peter, as I've said before, we are subjected to very strict, stringent body searches. We are told we're not allowed to use things like iPads and cell phones. And that is how tense and how heightened the security is in a matter like this, Peter.
All right, so that's where we're going to have to leave it. That's Gillian Pillay right on the scene at the moment, and we'll be crossing to her throughout the course of the day to get updates on the proceedings there. Radovan Krejcir making a leave to appeal.